One for me, for changing my life and supporting my dreams. Having my little way, ghetto used to act funny. I don't know who I can trust. We confident they don't know about us. I don't trust these niggas. Ain't no place we warmed up. Ain't no microwave in the room.
Y'all have microwaves there?
Yeah.
Right back with the hook. Under. Get under. Yep. Double it. Double it.
I started pressing his ass. Yeah, get the paddles. Little bro.
That's 12, man. That's 12 rounds.
Shakur just definitely did a lot for my career, bro. And everything was genuine. January 31st, they're going to see the two of the best fighters in the sport of boxing. I'm not paying attention to Teofimo, bro. I don't care about Teofimo. At the end of the day, Teofimo is terrified of me.
He's going to want to make this a firefight, but I think that's going to be his downfall. It ain't me more so proving it to myself. It's more so just stamping it, like cementing it in my legacies. I think with the guys that he fought, they either had this, but they didn't have that. And when he's fighting me, I got this, I got that. And that's going to be the difference come fight night.
Shakur's putting the final touches on everything that matters right now. It's all about staying in peak condition, eating the right foods, keeping that mental discipline locked in, and perfecting his technique instead of just bulking up with unnecessary muscle.
I'm not trying to put on all that muscle and all that extra. They keep talking about skills pay the bills, and that's what's going to show up on fight night.
We looking forward to this here fight with Teofimo. I know we can guarantee you for sure, 100% he's going to be ready.
This camp feel way different from previous camps. Being away from my daughter, being away from my future wife, that's the most challenging thing. You got to keep your eyes on the prize. This is sharp as I think I done been for a fight. My diet, I let the nutritionists and all them kind of people take care of that. I just show up and eat whatever they give me. So I pay attention to what makes me feel good, and I just stay on that.
Final day in the gym, and Shakur's looking completely locked in. Every movement is calculated as he fine-tunes his skills, builds that last bit of stamina, and runs through his game plan one more time before the real deal.
My name won't get bigger. I'm going to become a superstar later on, and I just got to keep working.
And this is the main event. He is a former featherweight world champion, the 2016 Olympic silver medalist from Newark, New Jersey, Shakur Stevenson.
His coach says working with Shakur is like a dream scenario. The guy actually listens when you break down techniques, picks things up fast, and never loses concentration during those long training sessions.
A coach for Shakur is like a coach's dream, you know. He's technically sound, you know. He's disciplined. He does everything right, you know. All you got to do is talk gloves and give him water majority of the time. You don't got to worry about skipping no steps, you know. He going to follow everything, plus do a little more on his own time, you know. You make a coach job easy.
The pad work is where you can see everything coming together. Shakur's throwing combinations with his coach, dialing in that hand speed, making every shot count, and keeping that laser focus while the timing gets sharper and sharper.
I'm on a jump rope, try to do some sit-ups and shit, some abs. It ain't over yet. I think like 8, 9 on the bag, 3, 4 on the pads. What was that? 3 on the jump rope. I did 15 rounds altogether.
19 if you count them 7 with the shadow boxing.
Yeah, I did 22 rounds altogether. Now it's time to go eat.
The whole team dynamic means everything to Shakur. He talks about how Terrence has been like a mentor figure, pushing him when he needs it and keeping him motivated even when they're not in the gym together.
Walk him out. I put a lot of great people around me, challenge me and push me and take me to the next level, and I think that's what keeps me at my sharpest. Terrence Crawford, that's my big brother. I love him to death. I feel like If he wasn't in my career and in my life, it'd have been very difficult getting to the level that I got to. He kind of told me is take every guy serious. Seeing him and seeing how he prepared for guys who I know that's not on his level, it kind of turned me up to make sure that I do the same.
You look out, you 4 kings, but you're in my way. So I gotta move you out my way.
This guy is the best, and we're here to face the best. That's just what it is.
T.O.'s that guy. Like, I admire his style. I done said this before. I think he's a hell of a boxer. He's fast, he's strong. He got boxing IQ, you know, to outbox people. We sparring before. We did 3 rounds.
So, about that sparring footage. Teofimo dropped online, Shakur setting the record straight here. That clip was from before they even started going, and somebody clearly edited it to make it look like something it wasn't.
That is very misleading. It was the first round. So we warming up. Ain't nobody really land nothing. Like, he know deep down inside, he remember how the sparring went.
He said stop recording. Come on, dog.
Well, he gonna want to make this a firefight, but I think that's gonna be his downfall. Being that I know that I'm getting in the ring with the truth, I want to elevate my game and make sure that I'm better than him. I want to be better than him in every area on fight night, and that's what we're gonna do.
Preparation means taking care of every detail, including the warm-up routine. Shakur's working on flexibility, making sure his body won't break down, and getting everything loose before the serious work begins on fight night. The whole crew has been putting in work during this camp. King Jeremil, Nashin, and Ben Israel have been drilling Shakur on the pads, cleaning up his punch selection, working those combinations, and making his rhythm stays tight and ready to fire. This leaked audio gives us a completely different look at how Shakur Stevenson thinks heading into the Teofimo Lopez showdown. While everyone expected him to talk about building his legacy, proving he's elite, and claiming his spot as the division's best, Shakur drops some truth about what really drives him now. He's straight up saying money talks louder than championship hardware. During this conversation, he basically dismisses those belts as fancy decorations, things you put on a shelf in your office, rather than anything with real meaning. His preference is clear. He wants those big paydays that let him buy real estate and actually enjoy what he's earned instead of staring at belts collecting dust at home. What's interesting is how this changes Shakur's whole public image. Before this, everything was about legacy fights, especially going after Tank Davis to prove he belonged at the top.
Shakur, in a recent interview for the Teofimo fight, they asked him, have you wore your belt in the crib? And he was like, nah. And then he spends the next few minutes downplaying belts, right? Oh, belts are cool, but they're trophies, they're trinkets. Listen.
Championship belt around the house for fun. I don't know what it is about belts. Like, it's like trophies is trophies. Like, I don't know. I'd rather get a big check and go spend some money on some property or something. Belts is cool. Like, they good to place in your office and put them up. They look good for people that come see them. I think the money. I like the big checks.
Do you think you can land a punch blind?
I like the money. I don't care about belts. Time to expose the boy. Previously, Shakur spent his whole career talking more so about legacy and proving.
But now his words sound a lot like Gervonta Davis, who's always been open about chasing the biggest paychecks over symbolic wins. Shakur is being real about prioritizing financial success, showing he's thinking like a businessman rather than just chasing headlines or traditional boxing glory. Some fans might not love hearing this, but it shows what today's fighters actually face. Success isn't just about how many titles you collect, it's about making smart moves and setting yourself up financially for the future.
For that very reason, speaking of Gervonta Davis, your newfound statements of not caring about the belts sounds eerily similar to what Gervonta Davis has been saying. Roll the clip.
At one time, it was always Tank in your mind who you wanted. Is that still the same way or no?
I came to terms with accepting that the fight may not ever happen at the end of the day. And I can't, like, it is what it is.
You was literally saying that fight's going to happen no matter what. It's too much money. Eventually it's going to happen. But what changed it now?
You could tell he's not really, like, he don't want it like me. Like, I really want this.
Right.
Like, he's.
Tank don't want to fight. I really want it. So, for starters, if two people haven't fought for whatever reason, how do you determine in that situation who wants it? Neither one of y'all fought each other.
Jesse Hart broke down this Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez fight with some really sharp observations that make this matchup even more interesting. Hart sees this as a clash of completely different approaches. Shakur operates as a master of distance control, using his movement to dictate exactly where the action happens and making opponents fight his fight. Most guys can't figure out how to get close enough to do damage, but Hart thinks Teofimo won't back down from stepping forward and disrupting that rhythm. While other fighters end up accepting they're getting outboxed, Teofimo's going to bring pressure, get physical, and try to turn this into a war from round one. Hart also mentioned that Shakur isn't going to shy away from getting dirty when things heat up. When opponents get inside, he'll use his strength, create space with his frame, and employ whatever tactics necessary to stay in control. The main event between Shakur and Teofimo Lopez is shaping up perfectly.
I love that fight on a lot of reasons because Gordo, Teofimo Lopez, the takeover, is going to come. He's going to try to break that distance best he can. He's not going to just give in to that distance that Shakur got with his feet. Shakur is a distance fighter, and people don't try to break his distance because he'll get rough. He'll use that forearm and put it in your throat. He'll push you back. He'll try to, once you break his distance, Shakur get rough in there. That's what I like about him. He ain't scared to make it rough. He ain't scared to get physical with you. But Gordo is not going for that like Lomachenko. This is gonna be, I'm curious to see.
But here's what everything comes down to. What happens when those control tactics stop working? If Teofimo manages to close that distance successfully, Shakur might have to start throwing more punches in combination and operate outside the comfort zone he's used to. Hart made another crucial point about what makes Shakur so dangerous. It's not necessarily his hand speed or knockout power, but how he controls space and uses his footwork. That ability to manage distance might be as good as anything we see in boxing today. Whether he can maintain that control or gets forced into the toughest fight of his career could determine everything.
If he breaks Shakur Stevenson' distance, in the rough tactics and being physical doesn't work, I'm curious to see what bag is Shakur going to go in. Is he going to just start all out throwing combinations, or he going to still try to establish his distance? We know that Shakur distance is his greatest asset. His distance is not his timing, not his hand speed, because all that to me is average. He had average hand speed. He had average punching power. He had average footwork. His greatest asset is his distance. You know, that's what he has that's greater than Floyd Mayweather, It's greater than Andre Ward. It's greater than Usyk.
Shakur Stevenson fired back at Teofimo Lopez's recent statements by saying they sound more like jealousy talking than actual facts. He brought up how his viewership numbers have been consistently stronger, whether he's fighting on regular TV broadcasts or those big ESPN main events. Even when they're both fighting in their home areas, Shakur claims he's always pulled bigger audiences and generated more excitement. That's why he thinks Teofimo's getting frustrated about not getting the same level of attention and media coverage. Shakur didn't completely write off Teofimo's concerns, though. He acknowledged that every fighter wants their recognition and respect, but felt like the way Teofimo handled it was wrong, turning personal frustration into public attacks that didn't need to happen.
I think it was more so a jealousy, but not just being realistic about what was going on at the time. I think if you looked at my views on regular TV, because people try to act like, oh, regular TV, that's a good thing when you fighting on ESPN. So you looked at my views and you looked at his views, I always did more than him. When you put me in front of my hometown fans, you put him in front of his hometown fans, I always did more than him. So I think that's where the jealousy kind of lies. Yeah, like at the end of the day, he really ain't had no reason to say all of them things, but he just jealous that he's not getting the shine that he feel like he deserved. And I felt like he deserved it too. I don't disagree with him.
You don't want to take it away from him.
No, I don't disagree with how he felt about it, but the way he went about it, like, oh, they don't.
Hey, fighters understand, it's not about the network, it's about who you are as a person. Wally Moses, who's been training Shakur Stevenson for years, just sent a serious message to Teofimo Lopez about exactly what he's dealing with. Moses wants everyone to remember that Shakur wasn't just some gifted amateur fighter, he was a multiple-time world champion who earned IBA Fighter of the Year recognition. That award meant he was considered the top amateur boxer on earth during that period. Moses points out that Shakur has been winning at the highest level since he was young, consistently beating thousands of other fighters while climbing through every level of competition. This track record isn't luck, according to Moses. He sees Shakur's fundamental skills, mental approach, and ring awareness putting him ahead of almost everyone competing today.
You know, Shakur wasn't just an amateur boxing champion. He was a world amateur boxing champion on more than one occasion. Also, he was the IBA Fighter of the Year, making him the best boxer in the world and an amateur boxer. So, you know, Shakur is looking for those same things from Jay Quinn in terms of inside the professional rankings, but Shakur has been proven that he's been the #1 boxer throughout his life. He was #1 in every category that he boxed in, from a kid coming up. You know what I mean? Here in the U.S., he had eclipsed every boxer over like 1,000, almost close to 2,000 points in terms of his winning. So, you know, it's not a thing that, you know, people be talking about. What have Shakur done? They know what Shakur done in his amateur ranking. And Shakur done everything that they never were capable of doing.
Most people get caught up watching the speed and flashy combinations, but Moses talks about the hidden elements like perfect timing, fight control, and power that hits harder than people expect. He suggested that Teofimo might be sleeping on that punching power, and clean connections could shift momentum fast. When it comes to moving up in weight, Moses isn't worried about the size difference at all. He explained how today's fighters develop naturally through smart nutrition and strength work instead of forcing their bodies to add bulk. Shakur is just growing into his physical prime while keeping all that speed and explosiveness, plus the skills, experience, and sneaky power that make every punch dangerous. Moses is convinced Shakur walks into this fight ready to make his biggest statement yet.
It's only going to be a matter of time before he proves, you know, this caliber of fighter that he is to the world.
Now, as far as the weight jump goes, what's that preparation like? This got to be his 4th weight class.
Well,
like, what do you look to? Do you look to add more muscle? Do you like what's the proper way of adding weight when jumping up?
Let me give you an example. All right, let's look at when Terrence fought Canelo, right?
Yeah.
Everybody talking about him walking up and moving up here. The weight was going to be a problem, but a lot of people don't know what these cats really walk around at. So, you know, the weight factor being a problem not appropriate. It may be appropriate with some fighters, but, you know, some people are looking to grow, get more.
Some fighters just keep getting stronger throughout their entire careers. Jamil Herring dropped some serious knowledge about what Teofimo Lopez needs to do if he wants to beat Shakur Stevenson. Herring knows firsthand how tough it is to try boxing Shakur from the outside. Even though he had the reach advantage, he kept missing shots while Shakur picked him apart with perfect counter-punching. The frustration starts building, errors start piling up, and before you know it, you're chasing shadows while falling further behind. By the time you figure out what adjustments to make, you're already in a deep hole. That's exactly the trap Herring is warning Teofimo to stay out of. Herring thinks trying to beat Shakur in a pure boxing match is asking for trouble. Shakur lives for controlling distance, timing opponents perfectly, and making them pay for every mistake they make. Teofimo has to use what makes him different instead.
If you watch carefully, he uses his front foot as a measuring stick, and then that's how he gets his distance on you. And even then, like me having the longer reach, he was still able to make me miss and make me pay for it. And then that's when after a while, I just had to throw out boxing out the window and just fight him. But by then, it was too late. I found myself playing catch up. I was already cut up, so we know how that ended. But then when you got a guy like Teo, which is another good friend of mine, Teo is so elusive where he has a really good offbeat rhythm. I mean, we've seen him in his last fight, Arnold Barbosa. You've seen him when he fought Josh Taylor. You've seen it when how he comes out the gate against Lomachenko, and I believe he has to do that even with Shakur. You gotta basically be the bully because he's the bigger man. He has to basically put his foot on the gas and step to Shakur. But I think it's a great matchup, and it's two real good styles that clash. And for me, I also, despite what people may think, or maybe the one loss on Teofimo's record,
He's got the size advantage, more physical strength, and that explosive speed with an unpredictable fighting style that's hard to time. Herring believes Lopez has to come forward from the opening bell, mess up Shakur's spacing, and turn this into a physical battle instead of letting Shakur get comfortable and settle into his groove. The approach has to be smart aggression, though. Teofimo can't hesitate or fight like he's scared to engage. He needs to control the tempo, keep constant pressure coming, and make things messy. If he can turn this into a street fight instead of a technical chess match, Herring thinks Lopez gives himself the best shot at pulling off the upset.
I think it's a great matchup for boxing. I'm actually excited for it.
When you look at the styles, and you think, okay, Shakur is going to fight the way he fights, because that's who he is, and it's not a knock to him or his style. It works for him, but I guess in this case, Teo can Teo box with Shakur and win rounds, or does he have to be on him, be aggressive, and pressure him?
I think he can. But I think he used to mainly use his size and his speed. Teo has a good snap. He has a good snap in his punches, and I don't think he wants to make it too much of a chess match with Shakur, because that's, like you said, that's what Shakur's game. He has good eyes. He can see everything coming. I mean, we see with the Cepeda fight. I think Cepeda's issue was he was fighting at the same speed.
That wraps everything up for now. Catch you all in the next one.